Week 14 of the NFL season is officially here, and it kicks off tonight with a fantastic Thursday night football game. Packers-Lions will be up here on YouTube after that game giving our reaction. But today we are going to pick each and every Week 14 matchup. 5 weeks left of the NFL regular season. 5 weeks left for your team to claim a playoff spot or move up in the 2025 draft, whoever you may be a fan of. 5 weeks left for your fantasy playoffs, maybe 4 weeks, depending on if you're in a correct league or not. I don't know. I'm yapping. Let's talk Week 14 NFL action. And we're coming off of a fantastic Thanksgiving Week 13. I went fucking 15-1. And I already know, I'm getting the comment from the Seahawks fan. I forget your name. If you picked the Seahawks to beat the Jets, yes, it would have been a 16-0 perfect fucking week. Could have parlayed it, could have made $1 million, could have left this job that you got. It could have been life-changing. I understand. Was 15-1. Was 15-1, but we pushed forward 115-60 on the year still. Absolutely crushing it. I get it. Pick'em's not as hard as a spread, but still, I mean, we're almost 2-1 in terms of ratio of correct to incorrect. But let's talk Packers, Lions, Detroit, and Green Bay, both coming off of Thanksgiving Day games. So no short week here for these two, both coming into this game fully rested. Detroit, a ton of injuries in this defense right now. I think they have like 15 defensive guys missing this game, and like 13 of them are on the IR. Detroit is in a bad way when it comes to defensive injuries. DJ Reader is going to be missing this game, so Josh Jacobs should be able to have a healthy day on the ground game. Jordan Love has been cleaning up his play over the past couple weeks. You know, my biggest gripe with the Packers for a couple weeks there was every week you can count on Jordan Love to throw an interception. You go back to the last time that these two teams specifically played each other, and what did it come down to? Jordan Love throws a pick six, gift wrapped it to the Lions right before half. Lions are up 10. Green Bay can never battle back in. When you are playing great teams, you can't afford to make costly mistakes. The Packers did that last time. Jordan Love has cleaned it up towards the end of November. Now we head into December. Can he continue that action against a weakened Lions defense? And if so, can the Packers defense do enough to stop Detroit? And for Detroit, man, you're 11-1, but every game becomes must win. This game is the Packers. Next week, the Bills. You have another game with the Vikings left on the schedule. There's a world where Detroit wins 13 games and it is the 5 seed in the NFC playoffs because of how stacked this NFC North is. And then for Green Bay, it's, you know, you lose this game and any shot of winning the division essentially goes out the window. It's not completely over, but you pretty much are locked into a wild card spot if you lose this game. So a lot on the line. Should be a really fun game. I'm actually going to go against consensus. I see a lot of people saying this is Green Bay's time. Green Bay gets them. I think Detroit matches up really well against Green Bay, and the injuries are tough. I think we could be in for a really fun offensive firepower game, but no Jair Alexander still for the Packers, I believe, in this game. So Amon-Ra, Jamison Williams, those weapons, the run game of Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. I think Detroit's offense is just much more fluid, much more potent, and I'm going to give the Lions the victory here. I think it's a fun game. I think it's a close game. Give me Detroit 31-27. Next, we got the stinker of all stinkers. The 2-10 Jacksonville Jaguars travel to take on the 3-9 Tennessee Titans. Trevor Lawrence, after that hit last week from Azeez Al-Shaair, finds himself on the IR. His season is over. Will Levis at this point playing for a job, and really that's what this game comes down to me for Jacksonville. They are out on Doug Peterson. A lot of the team is on IR. You have, Parker Washington and Tank Bigsby and Mac Jones. Like, a lot of the young guys are getting play at this point in time. Whereas for the Titans, you have Will Levis, the quarterback of this team, playing for his job. If he plays well enough over the last 5 weeks where maybe he goes 4-1, his counting stats haven't been that bad, but maybe he starts to show that he's capable of winning some games. And the new head coach, Brian Callahan, this guy's not trying to lose games his first year. Whereas Doug Peterson, it's kind of he's already out the door. The Jaguars have a lot more opportunity to be quitting in this game than the Titans, in my opinion. Plus, the Titans' defense is actually pretty good, whereas Jacksonville's is pretty bad. The Jags are 0-6 on the road. Calvin Ridley, little revenge game to it, divisional game. Give me the Titans to win this game. I think they win at something of the score of 27-13. I don't think it's a particularly close game, and I think the Titans have a good one. Next, we got the 3-9 New York Jets traveling to take on the 5-7 Miami Dolphins, but records do not tell the story here. Miami is a much better team than their record, and the Jets, they just keep inventing new ways to lose games. Last week versus Seattle, they should have been going up 28-7 at the half if Aaron Rodgers just throws a gimme touchdown ball to Garrett Wilson. He misses the throw, and then the very next play, a pick six by a defensive lineman. Like, that is just how much more Jets could you be? Whereas Miami, they're still alive in the playoffs. Tua's been playing some really good football. The underneath stuff has been available. Devon Achane's been a threat in the receiving game. Waddle and Tyreek are always a threat for an explosive play. They're at home in Miami. The nice weather. They're on extended rest. The Jets are just a bad football team. Miami to win this game feels just like a lock of all locks at this point, which, you know how the NFL goes. Maybe that's a bad sign for me, but give me Miami to win this game. I think that they kind of put a beat down on New York, something like 30-16. I don't think this is a close one. The 6-6 Atlanta Falcons travel to Minnesota to take on the 10-2 Vikings. The Kirk Cousins revenge game could be here, but Kirk's been playing some stinky football the last couple weeks. The Falcons themselves have been playing some stinky football the last month. They are 0-4 in their last 4 games. They are a loss and a Buccaneers win away from not being in the playoffs and losing this division. A lot of pressure on Kirk Cousins. Falcons fans, NFL fans alike are calling for Michael Penix to hop in here. Whereas for the Minnesota Vikings, man, they'll know what happens in this Packers and Lions game tonight. And you got to think, if Green Bay wins, and now they are a win away from having the same record as Detroit, and they're starting to sniff the NFC North title, that 1 seed, there's really some extra motivation there. But even if not, you're still 10-2. You're still right there with Detroit. You got to keep keeping pace. So both teams, a lot of investment in this game. NFL fans should have some stake in this game, some real playoff implications on the line. This game certainly does matter a ton. I'm going to roll with Minnesota to win for a couple of reasons here. One, I just don't think Kirk Cousins has it flatly. I think that this team, the Falcons, will miss the playoffs. If you tune into the tier videos you've seen, I've had the Buccaneers over them for the past couple of weeks. I've kind of just envisioned this happening. The Falcons offense went from, one of the better ones in the NFL to, once defenses started to figure it out, there's no second gear for them because of Kirk Cousins' limitations at this point in time. Bijan Robinson's been great, but that Brian Flores defense being able to blitz and immobile Kirk Cousins spells trouble. I think we could see a Minnesota defensive touchdown in this game, truthfully. And then on the opposite side, Atlanta can't generate a pass rush. So you're going to give Sam Darnold time in the pocket with weapons like Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson. Everything to me points Minnesota to win this game. They're just simply the better football team. Maybe Kirk Cousins with a little extra motivation comes out and starts slanging that thing and it gets a little closer. But even in that, I still think we see a Minnesota victory 28-20. I think it's a touchdown game. If you thought the Titans and Jags was bad, let me show you the New Orleans Saints and the New York Giants. This is another one of the bad games that we have here. Derek Carr, I guess, is the best quarterback in this game for New Orleans. It's going to be what, Derek Carr versus Drew Lock? Do they throw DeVito back out there? I don't know. The thing with the Giants is, they're definitely trying to lose games from an upper management perspective. That's why DeVito started previously with Andrew Thomas, Evan Neal likely out on the offensive line. Dexter Lawrence is done for the year. How much faith can you really have in the Giants? Whereas for the Saints, they're playing under a new head coach in Rizzi. Maybe the locker room wants him to be the guy, and we're talking about an Antonio Pierce situation from last year where it's like, hey, we got a little extra motivation. There's some talent on this team. Let's build some momentum. Let's try and run the table, and maybe in the NFC South, we could get in at 9-8. I'm just thinking, like, the Giants know their season's over. New Orleans could have some false hope in that locker room and could be playing for a head coach, so I'm going to take the Saints to win this game. I think it's close. The Giants at +4 looks appetizing, if I'm being honest, just because I don't know if either one of these teams can really run the score up on the other one to a high level. So give me New Orleans to win this game 20-17. Like, I don't know. Are you even going to be watching this? So my Eagles 10-2 will be taking on the 3-9 Carolina Panthers. Yeah, Saquon Barkley. The question is, how many yards can he get in this game? Because the Panthers have the worst run defense in all of the National Football League. Saquon Barkley obviously currently has a lead on Derrick Henry in terms of the rushing yard title, and he's got this extra week against Carolina while Henry's on bye. So my guess is Saquon will all but lock up the rushing title. But if you want to break Eric Dickerson's record, you're at 1,499 yards. That's like 21 and some change. You got to have a couple. I think you got to average like 118, something like that. I did the math on it, but I don't remember the exact number. But this is a game where you could put up a 150 piece and really put yourself in a good spot to break that record. I think that might be the only way Saquon could get MVP. You know, the Eagles are going to want him to get MVP, so expect a heavy dose of the run in this game. The Eagles are going to win. There's not a doubt in my mind about that. The talent discrepancy is just too big, and Philly's playing great football. The defense is legit. The thing that you want to watch for in this game as an NFL fan is how competent does Bryce Young look? Because he's looked really good the past couple weeks. And this Eagles defense has really been just the best in terms of coverage in the NFL. Bryce Young doesn't exactly have the best weapons. Can he make things happen? Or does the Eagles defense completely shut down the Panthers offense? You know, that's where I'll be looking at. But I do think Philly wins this game. I think it's very reminiscent of the Giants game from, earlier this year where they're just playing an undermanned team. 12.5, I think Philly covers it, but I think it's more of like a 28-7 type victory. I don't think Philly really pours it on. I think they're at a point where we're going to, run the ball down your throats with Saquon Barkley, apply pressure with the offensive line, and we're going to get in and get out of there. The best 3-9 team I've ever seen, the Cleveland Browns with Jameis Winston, will be traveling to Pittsburgh to take on the 9-3 Steelers. The Browns beat Pittsburgh just 2 Thursday Night Footballs ago. Pittsburgh could be out here looking for revenge. I think that they get it. Listen, the Browns, they are a fun team, but I think Pittsburgh, again, has a legit Super Bowl shot. I've been saying it for almost a month now. I've gotten some pushback on it, but listen, I think what Russell Wilson brings is an ability to expand the field. And listen, the way that the Browns offense is humming and playing, you saw them versus Denver. Like, they're willing to take their shots. Pittsburgh might have to take their shots. This could be more of a fun AFC North game than we're expecting. But ultimately, I do think that the defense of the Steelers versus Jameis Winston will prove to be too much in Pittsburgh. A revenge spot for the Steelers. I don't think that they take the Browns lightly, and Pittsburgh walks out of there with a victory, something along the lines of 27-17. We got the John Gruden Bowl as the Las Vegas Raiders travel to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers. Listen, the Raiders are shot. Aiden O'Connell and Sincere McCormick. I mean, Brock Bowers certainly has a case for Offensive Rookie of the Year, not being talked about at all, but Baker and the Bucs are playing for something. You guys know this. I've been high on the Buccaneers. That rushing attack of Bucky Irving and Rachaad White has been absolutely excellent. The team has Mike Evans back now, so they can stretch the field. The defense is certainly hit or miss, but against a Vegas Raiders offense, I don't think that truly matters. The Buccaneers will be playing with purpose in this game. They know if they win and Minnesota does their job and beats Atlanta, they're in first in the NFC South, and they are on pace to host a playoff game. So give me Baker and the Bucs to win here, 27-14 in Tampa Bay. One of the more exciting games on the Sunday slate, the 7-5 Seattle Seahawks travel to Arizona to take on the 6-6 Cardinals. And the NFC West playoff race, I think, might be my favorite playoff race as we head to the end of the year, because obviously, one, it's super competitive with Seattle, Arizona, and the Rams. I think San Francisco's out of it, but I guess technically they're not eliminated. And Seattle, a real shot here to push forward and be like, hey, this is ours for the taking. Because if Seattle leaves this game 8-5 and Arizona 6-7 and Seattle beat them twice this year, that all but assuredly means without a historic collapse, Seattle would get in over Arizona. Obviously, we'll see where the Rams end up, but huge game here for Seattle. And if you're Arizona, we get a win. We're 7-6. The Seahawks are 7-6. And at worst case scenario, the Rams are 7-6. And now we got a month of football. Like, that's where it's at here. The interesting thing about this game, too, is both quarterbacks are certainly talented, but both quarterbacks go through hot and cold streaks. I mean, you watched Kyler do it last week against Minnesota. He was hot for 3 quarters, and then, at the end of the game, he throws 2 terrible interceptions. Geno Smith's been on a bit of a heater the past couple weeks. I think the emergence of Jackson Smith and Jigba has been really great for this Seattle offense because DK Metcalf is healthy now, Ken Walker, Mike McDonald coaching up that defense. Arizona's favored in this game. I'm going to sneaky pick Seattle to win. I just think there's too many inconsistent parts to Arizona here, and sneakily, their run game has been pretty bad the past couple weeks, and that includes 2 weeks ago versus Seattle. A lot of Arizona's offense depends on the run game working. It didn't work against Seattle. James Conner has kind of been slowing down a little bit. Maybe they go to the rookie Trey Benson, but I think Seattle is poised to win this division. They feel like the best team in terms of just consistency at this point in time. I think the Rams have a higher ceiling, so we'll see what happens in the last month of play, but I think it ultimately comes down to Seattle and the Rams. Give me the Seahawks to win this game 28-27 on a walk-off touchdown pass. Geno Smith finds Jackson Smith and Jigba. Book it. Speaking of those Rams, they will host the Buffalo Bills. This is just an interesting game written all over it. Josh Allen, Matt Stafford. How could you not be excited to see these two square off? The Bills still got something to play for. The 11-1 Kansas City Chiefs play on Sunday Night Football. If the Bills win this game and the Chargers beat the Chiefs, the Bills all of a sudden have the 1 seed. And again, ever since the NFL put in this new playoff format, the 1 seed has become that much more valuable. It's not just the top 2 seeds get a bye. Buffalo's got the AFC East wrapped up, and at this point, they could go in cruise control and probably get the number 2 seed. But that 1 seed is so valuable that they got to keep on pressing. And for the Rams, you lose this game and you just essentially have to run the table the rest of the way, especially if Seattle beats Arizona. So a lot on the line in this game for both teams here. Josh Allen and the Bills, obviously I'm going to lean them to win this game. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I think it could be closer than people expect. McVay, Stafford, Kupp, Nakua, Kyron Williams, that can be a dynamic offense. It's been a little shaky the past couple weeks, and Buffalo has a good defense, so I'm going to lean safe and pick Buffalo to win this game, but again, we know the ceiling of the Rams' play is very, very high. Give me Buffalo to win this game. Sneaky kind of competitive, 27-23. The Bills go into LA and get the W. We got the 4-8 Chicago Bears, who were 0-5 on the road this year, traveling to San Francisco to take on the 5-7 San Francisco 49ers. Interesting setup here because the Bears, well rested, coming off of a heartbreaking loss on Thursday Night Football, or Thanksgiving football, I should say, Thursday football. They then lose that game. Eberflus gets fired. Criticism for Caleb, rightfully so, on not calling a timeout, but the offense looked really good in the second half there, and it has been coming around the past couple weeks. They've had a couple overtime games against some good teams as well, so the Bears are trending positively in the right direction offensively. I've really liked what I've seen from Caleb in the last month. And for the 49ers, the injury bug, man, Christian McCaffrey done for the year here. We'll see what the deal is with Trent Williams. He's questionable, but no Hufanga, no Greenlaw, Nick Bosa, he also is questionable. Those guys didn't play last week. At 5-7, I don't really see them playing this week either. Now you're stuck with Brock Purdy, Isaac Guerrero, Deebo Samuel for what it's worth, but he looks really slowed down. Jawan Jennings and George Kittle on a bit of a cold streak here. The Bears, more rested, momentum of the new interim head coach. Call me crazy. I'm taking the Bears to win this game. I don't know. I just, they're 0-5 on the road this year. And the second they get a new head coach, them winning on the road, that just feels like one of those things that'll happen, and it will pile on even more on Matt Eberflus. Give me the Bears to win in an upset, in a shocker, 24-21, a field goal at the gun. Sunday Night Football, we got the 8-4 Chargers traveling to Kansas City to take on the 11-1 Chiefs. The Chiefs are 6-0 at home this year, have not lost a game. Justin Herbert, a quiet year, but a 13-1 touchdown to interception ratio. Pat Mahomes, he's been turning the ball over a little bit more. This should be an interesting game. The Chiefs are the more rested team because they did play on Black Friday. Ladd McConkey is questionable with an injury. He did get in a limited practice yesterday, but I honestly think this matchup for the Chargers is a bad one at this point in time. J.K. Dobbins lands on the IR. The Chiefs have one of the better run defenses in all of the NFL. Chris Jones back to the middle of that line with the return of Charles Omenihu. They're not going to be able to run the ball that great with Gus Edwards and Kamani Vidal. And they only really have one receiving weapon in Ladd McConkey. But the Chiefs, what do they have? Trent McDuffie, who can play nickel. He can play on the outside. He's top 5 at both. He might just be the best nickel in the league if they got to strictly play him there like they did last year. It's just a tough matchup for the Chargers offense. Cold Kansas City night. I don't see them moving the ball relatively well. Whereas for the Chiefs, they're starting to get healthier. Having Isaiah Pacheco back for this game is really, really good. Kelsey, Noah Gray, they've been pretty solid together. You have DeAndre Hopkins, Patrick Mahomes. You take him over Herbert. You take Andy Reid over Jim Harbaugh. You're talking about the top 1 head coach quarterback combo versus like another top 5. But all the edges to me go to Kansas City in this spot. I do think that they win this game on Sunday Night Football. I think the Chiefs go to 12-1, the Chargers to 8-5, and the Chiefs will probably win this lower scoring fun game, something along the lines of 20-14. I don't think it's high scoring. I think the Chiefs are consistently in 1-score games this year, but I really just have a hard time envisioning the Chargers moving the ball in this one. And then we got Monday Night Football. The 4-8 Bengals take on the 5-7 Cowboys. And as I read that, I just realized the Cowboys, who have Dak Prescott on the IR and have been starting Cooper Rush for about a month at this point, still have a better record than Joe Burrow and the Bengals. And it's not Joe Burrow's fault entirely. Some people say you can't put any of the blame on him. I don't know, those early games, especially the one with the Patriots that they lost, I can kind of put on him, but the defense has just been absolutely dreadful. Lucky for them, they're playing a backup quarterback. It's not like Cooper Rush is the worst backup quarterback, but, he has his limitations. The Bengals can't lose this game. Technically, they're still alive if they run the table, and they do play Denver, and you could see a collapse from Denver, the Ravens, or the Chargers, theoretically. Like, the Bengals are not completely dead in this spot, but, it's not looking good for them. I will pick them to win this game because, again, they have something to play for. The Cowboys don't, but the Cowboys have been trying, to their credit. This is like that Simpsons Disney game. Give me Joe Burrow to win this game. I think a lot of this is just more so like, just let's see Burrow win, please. Like, let's see what was it? It was something that the Bengals this year are like 1-3 when they score 30 plus points, and the rest of the NFL is like 50-1. Like that stat just encapsulates the Bengals season, but I don't think the Cowboys can keep pace with the Bengals offense, even with how bad the Bengals defense is. I just don't think the Cowboys have enough, juice in the tank to do it. Give me the Bengals to win this game. I think it could be a little higher scoring, 34-24. Give me the Bengals to win this game. Man, I just certainly hope so. But that's the Monday Night Football game. We'll be live not live. We will have videos up on the channel after Thursday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, and Monday Night Football. As always, tier list Tuesdays, predictions on Thursdays. If there's breaking news or whatever, I put a video out on that. I appreciate your guys' support for the channel. Ton of great comments as of lately. Anybody that made it to this point of the video, please drop a thumbs up. Comments are huge for the YouTube algorithm right now as we look to grow the channel. Any comment, you want to talk about any of these games that I talked about, let me know. I'm answering everybody in the comment section. I appreciate your guys' support. I will catch you next time. Hit that subscribe button. Peace.